Hey, on this week's episode of the R Zone, we welcome Dr. Thomas Gorman and his beautiful wife, Maggie. And isn't it kind of bizarre to think that everything happens for a reason? To just believe in your heart that we're all placed here with a specific job, task, or assignment, and that for some unknown reason, we meet and oftentimes come together in a partnership. So in this week's episode, we're going to get a chance to talk to Tom and Maggie about this great team and how they are truly changing the world. So it's all happening right now on the R Zone. When you put your head on that pillow tonight, you've got one question. Are you glad you did, or do you wish you had?
The R Zone with Coach Jim Stroker.
We've all had people along the way in life who make a lasting impression. For me, one of those people was my high school basketball coach, Jim Stroker. He's coached hundreds of us teenage boys over the years and raised three of the most remarkable kids you'll ever meet.
I have coached hundreds of thousands of games right on these fields right here. But there's only one game that truly counts, and that game is your life. And you will be measured in that game by how you respond. E+R = O. The events, many of which are out of your control, plus your response, which is 100% on you, will equal the outcome. And now we're about to lean in on the power of your response. The R Zone. This is a podcast to share conversations on our own hero's journey. These are stories that have shaped my life and the mindset I hope that will help shape yours. This is coaching for life. It's not where we've been. It's all about where we're going. The R Zone is the space between stimulus and response. The R Zone is where you have the power to choose your response.
And now, join Jim Stroker in the R Zone.
So, here we are on the R Zone. And of course, it's always kind of confusing what the R Zone is, but it should be clear by now. The R Zone is how you respond. Now, E+R = O, and in this situation, the E is your life, and you have a choice to do with whatever you want. So this week, Tom and Maggie, you two emulate. You are models. You are symbols, North Stars of people who have taken that E and said, I am just so blessed to have this opportunity. And you've taken it and absolutely like pressed the world to go, we're coming full force in this area to me, which is so intimately close, and that's education, caring for children, and truly deciding to take that leap to not worry so much of having the biggest car in Ridgewood,
right,
but changing people's lives. So that's a lot. That's a long-winded, but this is really hard to know where to go, who to go to next, because you're both such in leadership. And Maggie, I'm going to be appropriate, and I'll toss it to you first. So why don't you take over off of that?
I work at Ramsey High School. I'm a wellness teacher and coach, and it was my only job. I had one interview right out of college and was blessed enough to do what I love to do. I really feel like I was meant to do that. I was always involved in sports, and I grew up with three older brothers, so I didn't really have a choice in that matter. I was always a tomboy, and it was just around us. But everything that sports stands for, being dedicated, responsible, working for the person next to you, making the sacrifices, doing things when you don't want to do them, and then performing at your best ability is everything that transfers to life.
Yeah.
And that's why sports and being a physical education teacher and a wellness teacher is who I am.
Yeah.
Because I believe in everything about it. And it's just been an amazing journey to love what I do and to love the people I do it with.
I love it. Tom?
And you brought it up in the beginning. You know, it's all about, the friends, the mentors, all these coaches that we all had. I was blessed to have you as a coach and all these other people that had a big influence on our lives. And then this is our opportunity to give back to the next generation. So we're doing that with our children. We're doing that with our coaching in town, as well as, at the varsity level. And then, making an impact as many people as we can while we have this short time on earth.
Yeah. Well, it seems like both of you, I mean, certainly Tom, we have this long, intimate connection. And Tommy, of course, played linebacker at Ridgewood High School when I was one of the coaches. And then actually, senior year was 1980. It was 87 year, but 86
Yes.
football.
Yeah.
Yes.
For 2 years, Tom, sat behind the defensive line and was the leader back there and became an incredible linebacker, and then went to Muhlenberg where he played. But how early did you feel, and then Maggie, it was like this, I'm comfortable in a leadership role, and how did you kind of figure out what that meant as a young person? Because early on, you were humble. You led by example. Early on, you had the ability to call people together to huddle up. Like, where did that all come from, you think?
Personally, I never aspired for these roles, including the job that I have now as superintendent. They just happened. You're just hanging out with your friends and you're just working hard. You're doing what the coaches are telling you to do. And then all of a sudden your peers elect you as captain. So, there's something that's going on. There's some kind of magic formula that you're doing with all your peers and having fun while you're doing that. And the same thing with education. I got into these leadership roles, but not because I said, this is what I want to do for the next 20 years. It just happens because someone taps you on the shoulder. And the one thing that we've talked about in the past is you say yes. Saying yes is the biggest thing you could do in this world to move on, advance, or make a difference.
I love that. And Maggie, obviously as a classroom teacher, you are a leader, but then you've been an incredible coach and just recently did something, amazing with the girls wrestling team and volleyball team at Ramsey. So how do you, like in your leadership role, how do you, because everyone says it, how do you make those connections, develop those relationships that build trust and really act as a tremendous leader? How do you do it?
I feel very blessed again and grateful that in this stage of my life and my career at 57 years old that I'm still able to come back and coach and do all this thing and all these beautiful things. And then this wrestling aspect, which is completely foreign to me. I mean, we did martial arts together, but it's a different animal. It was just these girls initiating to be on this wrestling team. And the head coach, all the head coaches of the wrestling team are great friends of mine. And I was like, do you guys need help? I mean, you have girls here. Yeah. And I was just going to be like the mom and walk around. And then my competitive nature, I can't stand on this side very long, but I also know my place and I'm just there to learn. And that was actually the first thing I said to the girls. I said, I don't know a lot about wrestling, but I know a lot about coaching and winning and competing and being girl power. Yeah. And that's what we're going to do.
And just to jump on that, her success formula, whether it be as a mom, a spouse, or as a coach, she leads with love. So she'll be the first one to tell you your mistakes. She'll have no problem calling you out if you're not going to practice on time or something like that. Yeah. But then she ends it with a hug, or she ends it with some kind of positive reinforcement. And I think that's the key to her success.
Yeah. It's so funny, Tommy, your persona, your personality reminds me so much. I've had this, unique ability to work with the Navy SEALs through my friend Justin O'Connor, and met a lot of them. And they have that same kind of quiet, humble persona. And the last people you think, would be leading the way, breaching through a doorway. But, you blend that with this, again, which is so interesting, this martial arts background. Yeah. So this composed, calm mindset that you use, but still combine it with a tremendous tenacity.
Yeah.
Like how do you put that together, and where'd that come from?
It just, things evolve. And so after I was done with sports in high school and college, I was looking for something new. And, you know, the Ross family had a martial arts studio around here. And when I started joining, we started doing martial arts. And it was something to keep me engaged in something new and exciting. So I started learning that. But then, of course, there's a whole nother dimension to that. There's a whole mental aspect, and there's a word in Japanese called Kaizen, and that's the art of continuous improvement. So you're constantly trying to improve. So the good thing about the martial arts was it's individual, whereas I was always a team sport person my whole life, and now I was able to do something. And now it's also, you know, getting into your head, you know, as well as the physical aspect. And so, I've been doing that for most of my life. So,
I love it.
Yeah.
And his other life is being a SEAL, by the way.
I bet. Well,
So when you making that comparison, you got a little,
well,
that's
it's the truth. It really is. So what I am enamored to, what I love, what for some reason it is people with energy. You know, I mean, I just, it's that same question. You're going to go for it or play it safe.
Right.
And when I see people being vulnerable enough to come all out,
Yeah.
I mean, and I use the word all out. I don't know why I'm twisting here, but I remember being a teacher at BF, and early on, seeing these young people that had come to the conclusion that maybe they were gay or lesbian, and they had the courage to come out.
Yeah.
Like, this is who I am,
Yeah.
and it's going to be hard, but this is who I am.
Yeah.
And you are this person, up at Ramsey. I was there yesterday, and they all say she's the hugging queen. I mean, she comes at you and she just gives you a big hug, like I think that is just so beautiful.
Thank
and
you.
it's a message that you're not going to hold back.
No.
So how do you feel about that?
I'm grateful again that the kids and they trust me enough, but I also know it can be a lot. Listen, I know that I'm a lot, and I always say this, and he never asks me to be less though, and that's kind of the gauge of my life. And if I'm excited, you're going to know about it. If I'm mad, you're going to know about it. But it does always end with love. And I feel like hugs are so healing.
Yeah.
Again, there's nothing fake about it, but you are vulnerable when you allow yourself to hug or be hugged. But there's so much, there's a safety part. And I remember one girl said that to me one time, and and I was hugging her, and she's like, "You feel so safe."
Yeah.
And it just
beautiful.
that's all I want for my students is to know that they have a safe place with me for that example of sexuality, of home life, of anything. And being at Ramsey for 33 years, I've had so many opportunities to be an outlet for children. And now adults. I mean, I have 50-year-old former students that are still in my life. But that hug, I feel, is just it's just such an innate response for me, because I feel it's love and it's healing, it's real, and it can say a lot. I remember my one girlfriend, she's like, "I can't hug you because I know I'm going to cry," because it just really makes you
It's beautiful.
feel who you are. And I know it's not for everybody, and I respect those boundaries, but it's just really, truly a big part of who I am, and I'm proud that people make that connection with me, for sure.
Well, it's not for everybody, but I think those who are standoffish or uncomfortable probably need the hug more than anyone.
100%.
I found. And,
Yeah.
Leo Buscaglia
Yeah.
in the old days, remember?
January
We all
21st,
need eight
National Hug
hugs
Day.
a day,
Yep.
right?
January 21st.
And, Tom, you again are another male that is very comfortable telling people you care about, you love them. And it's just, it's always to me been like the ultimate state of confidence. Look, if I wasn't going to see you tomorrow, if I knew you were going to die, and we all sit there, "Oh God, I love you, but why wait?"
Yeah.
No, that definitely comes because of my wife. She broke me
I
down.
broke 'em.
So,
broke 'em.
The family I grew up in was a little bit more stoic. We all had love, but we just didn't express it outwardly. Then I met her, and slowly over time, she's worn me down.
He hates it.
But now I do feel more comfortable. I'm not as comfortable as hers, but and that just might be because the male persona or something like that. But I think we do have to share that, and I think people are vulnerable, people are sad, people are hurting, and I think we have to reach out to friends or even strangers and try to reach them and show them that they do matter and they do care and they have an impact in this world with whatever way God has them going.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just jump back quick. The Kaizen term of constant growth,
Right.
and actualizing and closing that gap constantly from who you are to who you can become. Both of you seem extremely type A driven people, right? So how do you balance that with rest and recovery and then allow yourself to go, I'm enough, but I still want to grow? Like it's kind of a paradox there, or an oxymoron, isn't it? Like I'm enough, but I'm not enough.
You're exactly right. So there's a line in the Bible that says, to whom much is given, much is expected. And that's been like a blessing and a curse for me, because I do feel that I come from, so many great opportunities, so many great people have influenced me. So I feel this pressure that to help keep moving, and I have to be the best that I can be in all aspects, whether it be, as a father, a spouse, an educator, or whatever I'm doing. So that push is always there, and that's just inside me. So, and then to find that balance, it's very hard. I think that's the hardest thing to do. So how do you find time for your loved ones, for yourself? Sometimes we neglect that, and then also give everything you can to your job. And it's that balance. So every day you're juggling and trying to find that balance, and it's going to change.
But I think we do balance each other a lot with that. He is always looking for the next, for the next, for the next. And I am more of the, sit in your, wallow in our gratitude and take that pause, practice the pause. I'm always about practicing the pause, and because what are we going for? If all we're doing is looking for the next, then nothing matters. Nothing matters. So that is where our relationship, I think, has only gotten stronger and make each other better, because when I'm down, he picks me up. I remember he always said, he was like, you need to literally exhale, because as a teacher, you take everything home. I believe if I'm not giving a part of my soul every day, then I'm not doing my job. But when you give that part up and people either take it because they need it, you're still kind of lacking. So you need to replenish, you need to rejuvenate. And I have a partner that recognizes that, because I do physically, I'm very emotional. There's no faking what I'm doing. And that, good or bad, it is what it is. But I support him, but remind him, you don't have to have something going all the time. That's been the hardest thing for him. I can sit back on a day where we don't have anything. Nobody sits on their butt better than I do. Nobody. Because when it's time to go, we go. But I really feel the time to sit back and reflect and rejuvenate and sit in your gratitude and not be arrogant, but be like, hey, we did it. We kicked ass. That was the plan. All right, let's kind of wallow in it for a minute and then to go to the next thing. Because if you're not appreciating the journey, then it's just for nothing.
That's great. That's great. I love that. Yeah. So you're experts in the area of teaching. You're experts in the area of guiding people through their life challenges, and then all of a sudden you have 3 children, and now there's this giant. This it's not sit down. We're the teachers, and let us tell you what to do.
Right.
So what's the trick, and how do great teachers back off and let their children experience life rather than over teach them? How has that been?
I look at it that having children makes me a better person, because I need to be the best version of myself to model something that they can emulate. So that again is that driving force for me. So so they're seeing however I react, or whatever I'm doing in a situation. They're always watching. They're always watching, And they need to see the love in the home. They need to see all these things. They need to be able to take those risks.
Yeah.
And if things don't go their way, we'll talk about it. We'll hug them and be like, that's life. Now, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to respond?
Yeah.
You know, so life doesn't always go your way. And so we feel that we've given them a strong enough foundation to be able to succeed in life.
Yeah.
But, you know, you don't know what curves are going to come up in their lives. But at least they know they always have us to back them up or talk to and love them in the end.
And my brothers and I always talked about our life. Growing up in Hawthorne, we were born in the Bronx and came here. We didn't have a lot of money, and this isn't a pity party, but we never knew it, you know, because we were always loved.
Yeah.
Like that is the foundation of our whole family. Like we were loved. So whatever hardships or challenges came, we're like, we know we're going to make it.
Yep.
And that is what we try to instill in our kids. Like, you know, we always say, there's no problem too big for us.
Yeah.
That's been our mantra in our house. There's no problem too big for us because we have our stuff. You know, you interview our kids, you know, they love us, but I'm sure they have something to say too. But they are loved. They are raised above, like, you can do it. But we're also like, hold them to the fire too.
Right.
Like nobody's going to love you more than us, but nobody's going to hold you more accountable
Right.
than us either. And what are you contributing to this world?
Yeah.
And how are you going to be your best version? And when, not if, when life hits you, we are here no matter what.
Yeah.
And I think that is our foundation, and that's our hope for them. Because they are, you know, our son's going to be 27 next week, and our daughter just turned 25, and our youngest just finished college at 22. They're all working. They're all like big people right now. Right. So now it's just like letting them and watching them shine, but knowing that we're here for them on this next shift in their life, and wanting to be a part of it, and wanting to be grandparents, and wanting to be, you know, just you know, without trying to get emotional about it, but like to be a part of that next step in their lives is all we hope for.
Yeah.
So you picked education. You purposefully chose a field, a profession where you're not going to get rich, right? Mm-hmm. And if you'd gone another route, you probably would have had access to more things, right? But for some reason, you felt a calling to go this road. And, you know, in this day and age, so less number of young people are pursuing teaching.
Yeah.
When we grew up, it was the coolest thing in the world.
Right.
That's what we wanted to be.
Right.
Like, you know, or our coach or our teacher. And so, like, do you feel like you've lost out on some of the riches of life because you didn't go that route? Or do you feel like the gifts that are hidden here, it might not be monetary, but you get so many. You know,
Yeah, I mean, getting into education. Well, first of all, there is a shortage of teachers nationwide, as well as healthcare providers. I mean, this is something that AI and all these other things are not going to fix. So this is something that I'm putting an all call out there that people want to get into these fields. That we definitely need them. Education is more of a delayed gratification, absolutely. So you are making sacrifices up front for later on. But it goes back to that the quote, comparison is the thief of all joy. Yeah. If you're always going to compare yourself to others, you're always going to be miserable. So you focus on what you have, you focus on what is important to you. And yeah, of course, I would love extra things, you know, but that's not what's most important in life. And maybe that's part of the spirituality that we have in our lives that helps ground you a little bit more about what's the most important things in life. And just having the love of family and friends and making the most of these things. So we've had a very fulfilled life. I talk about, you know, with teachers that you don't get paid as much, but you get a lot of rewards each year with notes and people coming back to you and sharing their stories. So you keep them in a shoebox because you did make an impact. And how do you measure the impact you made on somebody's life? And I think that's what it's all about, paying it forward.
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Great. I mean, they're just things. You say it's just things, and of course, you know, money's great, and money, it makes the world go round. But it has never been a focus of my life, never, because again, we didn't have any growing up, so we just believed. I remember my dad would always say, you know, find out what you love to do, and just be the best at it. Yeah. There was never like, you need to be financially this, you need to find a great job so you can have a lot of money. It was find what you love to do and then be the absolute best at it. Yeah. So that was my message. And I'm even going to talk about Tom, because he did graduate with business and did go to business.
Right.
And I really felt, and his father was a successful businessman and created his own company. There was an obligation. There was no doubt. Living in Ridgewood, being the oldest son, there was an obligation to do that.
Yeah.
And I think, and I know he'll never say it, but there was like this kind of, like, I can't do education. I can't, because that's not, it's only noble. It's not what you're expected to do. And then finally, at the age of 28, we were married only like a year or two, and he's like, I want to go into education. I was like, well, thank you. Like, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And it's not naive. I'm not being naive to the importance of it. Obviously, we live in this town, but we've survived too.
Right.
We're two educators, and we raised our kids in Ridgewood, and it's been a great life. It's been a hard life at times, for sure, being so exposed to things, but no way. Nothing is ruling our lives but us and God. Nothing is ruling our lives.
So everyone that plays athletics or involved with sports realizes that there's these tremendous metaphors that occur. And both of you have been, really deeply involved in athletics.
Yes.
And then taken those lessons off the field
Absolutely.
into, the world of leadership, the world of your classroom. And, the older I get, like, gosh, it's just, it's so powerful if used correctly.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
it also can be used incorrectly,
Yep.
and sports can be a negative message about life.
Yeah.
So what have you really learned? What do you believe is that kids have access to that others might not? Not that you can't get it as a member of the band,
Sure.
or in theater arts,
Yeah.
or a member of the student council. But tell me more about that.
I think it always comes down to when I talk to my faculty and staff, and you're teaching students through your lens. Your lens is either football, theater, band, or something, but you're teaching them about life. And that's how you speak to them, and that's how they hear it. And they're getting exposed to many, many different, influences that are going to help them find their path and find their journey. And I think that's what that's all about. But you're speaking that language, and for us, athletics was definitely something that spoke to us. That now we were able to take all those lessons and apply them with when we're dealing with difficult situations at work or even just in life. But how do you apply them in real life is what you have to do. It's not like the movies, but you have to do it, and you have to. We always talk about you have to go through it.
Right.
You don't go
Can't
around it. You
gotta
don't go under
through
it. You don't go. You have to go through it.
But Coach, it's always like what you say. It's your passion, right? It's when you find something that lights you up, and then you share it. So that's why, like, one class is not more important than the other.
Yeah.
It's like, when people are like, oh, you're a teacher, oh, you phys ed, oh, that's fun, you get to wear sneakers. It's like, yeah, okay. But like, that's my avenue.
Yeah.
Anybody that's teaching a language and science and art, and like, when there's passion involved, somebody's going to get attached to that. You are going to share that, and they're going to see the light in it. So every single thing that these kids are exposed to, if it's led with love and passion, they're going to see the relevance of it, and they can see that application. So I can be an art teacher. Like, I can be this, I can be that, because I saw that light and that love and that passion in it. As long as there's something that's valuable. And again, with us in sports, like, again, teaching, with coaching wrestling, it's been something that's so incredible. But when I talk about my volleyball girls, I'm like, volleyball is a vehicle to life, ladies. Everything you think like, I'm freaking out about a play. It's not about the play. It's that you just watched it drop. How are you just watching it drop for this 2 hours? I go, after volleyball practice, after the game, let it go. But for these 2 hours, this is the most important thing. And what are you going to do? Put yourself out there for it. Take pride in what you do. If you don't have pride, then don't bother showing up.
And that's exactly what Eisenhower is trying to do.
This is the difference. He talks about Eisenhower. I talk about volleyball.
But at West Point, everybody has to participate in some kind of athletic sport or something that's going on there, because it's on those fields that you're going to be able to now apply what you've learned in the real fields of battle. And it's the same thing what she was talking about, like when the volleyball player lets the ball drop. Again, it goes back to the R. How are you going to respond to that situation? Do you curl up? Do you learn from your mistake? Do you get all psyched up? But that's about life. You're going to get punched in the face many times in life. Right. How do you respond?
Yeah. So Randy Pausch, you remember the story of the last lecture,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Came down with cancer, pancreatic cancer, and all the students rose up and said, give us one last lecture, right? So one day you'll walk out of the arena that you've been in, and that'll be it, showtime.
Right.
So if this was your last lecture in a minute or less, what would you want to make sure all your students, parents, like what would you put in your last lecture? Tom?
Well, we mentioned Kaizen before, about always trying to improve, and you're a perfect example of that. You retired and you could have just done nothing, or you reinvent yourself and you continue and you find this new life that's just been beautiful. So, always trying to improve. I'm very big on mind, body, and soul, and finding that balance between the three of them. I think a lot of people spend a lot of time on one or two of those aspects, but very rarely do they spend time on all three and finding that balance and trying to live the best life. I believe that God has put you on this earth for a certain reason. You have to listen to that voice or that nudge inside that's telling you, what is it I'm supposed to do? How am I supposed to make the most positive impact on this world? And you have to live up to that that calling. And I don't think everybody listens to that little voice inside, especially now because we have so many distractions.
Yeah.
You have to listen to it, and then you have to be brave enough to act upon it.
Yeah.
So
That's beautiful.
That's
It is.
Love it. That's a nice last lecture.
I'm not. I would be just like everything to me comes back to just gratitude.
Yeah.
And if you are grateful for what you have and what you don't have, then you're going to live a satisfied life. And again, I say that lightly, but it's not like saying thank you. It's actually living in the gratitude and working and shifting through the stuff to find the gratitude. Because there's always lessons. It's like life is not doing this to me, it's doing it for me. And I just saw something, I think it was Tony Robbins actually recently. When you replace expectations with appreciation, all of a sudden your life changes. All of a sudden there's a different lens. And I'm all about the lenses. So, this last lecture would be grateful for what you have and what you don't have. And love who is with you. Laugh louder, love longer, and live this life and don't be, again, looking like what I don't have and why can't we do that? It's like as soon as you start pointing fingers as to why you don't, you never will. Yeah. So when you have that gratitude, it just kind of oozes into every single thing that you have.
Yeah.
I just saw a quote yesterday, Elie Wiesel, and he said, think higher and feel deeper. Yeah. And you think about that, right? How are we pushing ourselves higher? And are we, going back to the hugging and everything like that, are you feeling deeper? A little more empathy?
Yeah. Well, in that same venue, like we've talked, Tommy, about, you've been in this now 30 years or
right. Close to, yeah.
And there will be a shift, a chapter change at some point.
Sure.
But you're even looking forward to that.
Correct.
Because it isn't the end.
Right.
It's not the period at the end of the sentence. It's just a comma. And so, as you think about, all the wisdom you've accrued, all the different places you could go, how do you get that? Because so many people have asked, how do you get the insight to really know where to go, or do you just go on journeys and let it happen?
That's going back to that whole inner voice. So you talk to people, you try them out, you rely on friends that you trust. I do a lot of reading to figure things out. But again, you just got to get quiet, and you have to go on these walks. You have to listen, and you have to, what is calling me? What am I feeling? And if you really are honest with yourself, you'll be pulled in a certain direction, and you have to answer it. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And I'm I'm looking forward to this next chapter of this book of whatever it is. I have no idea where it's going. But I do know, looking at you and others, I got another 20, 30 plus years, 40 years ahead of me. Like, that's pretty exciting.
I love it. So Maggie, I used to, I stole a little Jocko Willink yesterday. Of course he came out with the viral video, Good. And yesterday he was saying, Jocko, how do you feel? And he said, great. So, like the 5 Gs.
I saw that,
which are kind of nice. Like, how are you doing? I don't think there's ever a day that you don't go, great.
Yeah.
I mean, and some days you're not perfect.
Right.
And, you know, if I asked you, why on earth would you say you're great? I know you'd say, because I'm just so grateful. And, you know, when difficult things happen to you,
Yeah.
they don't happen to you, they might happen for you, and you say good,
Right.
Yeah.
because they'll get better.
Right.
And then, of course, you know, when that yellow light hits, when you're driving, it's yellow, you know, or life hits you with the yellow lights, you're another G word, go, right? And then, you know, like, where does this all come from? Like, how do you get the strength and courage? And, you know, you get one more G looking down on you.
Yes.
So you've got this exuberance, this like Tina Turner quality.
Oh, don't get me
about
excited
you,
right now.
You know, that I mean, do you get exhausted, tired, fatigued? Do you get down in the
100%.
dumps? And then what do you do? What are your personal tools to get you back on track?
I do decompress. I do unplug. But then I tap into my husband and my kids and my friends and my job and my students. And again, not to be redundant, but my gratitude that I'm able to do what I love to do. But I want to do it well. So like I said before, like I can sit like nobody and then I can like kick it in. But I think it just really comes from my parents, where it all started, and my brothers, and there was just no time for, like, there was always love and empathy and support, but it was always an example of like, well, how do you respond to this? And how do you do this? You know, like my mom was an immigrant and my dad was sick and is older and like, but lived with an illness for so long. And it's like, oh, who am I to complain? Like it is. And again, I love a pity party, but you can't stay there.
Yeah.
You know, you can definitely sit in your stuff, but you can't stay there.
Yeah.
And I do live by a lot of sayings, and one of my favorite that has helped me a lot, especially with the loss of my parents, is I find the gratitude through grief.
Yeah.
But the grief always comes first. Yeah. And that's when like you're feeling the heaviness and the sadness. And then I have to sort through the stuff to be like, okay, well, I had the greatest parents and they gave me this life and they worked hard for me to be the best that I can be. So I have to do that to honor them and to live my
Well,
life.
that story is where I'd like to go now, because again, all of us have a story.
Yeah, we all do, for sure.
And frankly, we write it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and you could have had the most challenging upbringing in the world that gave you the most gratitude and fortitude and courage to do what you did.
Yeah.
You could have had, but you tell the story, and now you've done something, you know, incredible together, and that's writing the story
we did.
with Tom actually being part of, which is
It's amazing.
also just so beautiful.
Thank
that,
you.
that you were that loving and interested in, you know, your
My family.
mother-in-law.
I know.
Which,
I
you know,
know.
we always have the mother-in-law
Yeah, I
joke.
know.
So
Yeah.
like,
I
oh,
know.
God. But
Yeah,
instead,
it's
you
true.
did, of course, just the opposite,
Right.
Yeah.
which to show her such, you know, such admiration and
Yeah.
respect. So tell us a little bit about the book and how it came about. And
Yeah, just real quickly, you know, so Peg, when she was in Ireland, 1950s, she got pregnant at 17 years old. Small town in Ireland, and that was not, you know, not a good thing
Little
to
frowned
happen.
upon.
Yeah, it was. So she wound up going to Sean Ross Abbey, and she had the baby in this unwed mother-baby home. And she had the baby, but then the ridicule and the teasing and the nastiness that came out
Yeah.
over the number of, you know, next couple of months, she decided she had to give the baby up for a better life, and she did, and then she came to America. So that's how she responded to that situation, and then she had a beautiful life here and everything, and 50 years later, she gets reunited with her baby that she gave up, who actually was adopted here in America and lived in the suburbs of Chicago.
Whose name is Maggie.
Yeah.
Her husband's name is Tom, and
Right.
she was a teacher.
Right. So you talk about those connections.
It's so stupid.
Right.
unbelievable.
Yeah. So that all came together, and we call her Mary because that's what my mother-in-law
Right.
called her when she was first born.
Right.
So Mary then came into our life about 17 years ago, and we decided to write this book as a family heirloom.
Yeah.
So the kids could know about this, and the grandkids could know about this. But then a friend wanted it, a friend wanted this, and then all of a sudden, you know, we started selling the book, and which is available on Amazon now, and it's been selling. We've been doing book tours and lectures and things. It's just been an incredible story, and right now we're creating a documentary about the whole thing.
It's
So
just
we should have that out later this year, and we're really excited about that.
But when Tom decided to do it, and then I love his humility still. He's like, Mag, I feel like it's like a wedding. Like you plan it, you put all this time into it, and then it's over. And it did come out before my mom passed away.
Here's the book.
Yeah, that's my mom. That's her passport coming when she was 18 years old.
Right.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, really, really great.
Yeah. So
again, that book, and we decided to put it out to the general public about everything else we just talked about. This story has inspired others to find their lost mother or siblings.
Yeah.
This story has inspired other people that are also adopted. So it's been incredible that it's touched so many lives that we had no idea that it's reached so many people, which is very similar to the careers we've decided to get into with education. You don't know how far you're reaching people by just being you and sharing your stories.
It's amazing, right?
yeah, we're just really blessed. And I talk again. It's my parents, and I remember that came out when our daughter Hagen was going to college, and she was like, "Mom, that's like me going away, and I'm nervous, and this is what I want to do." She's like, "My mom came here, and was going to a family in Long Island to work, and had no idea, and gave up her baby." Like, again, those little gifts of, okay, then I need to get my act together. So
It's incredible.
yeah, incredible.
Well, my attention deficit head just wants to get you a couple of rapid fires, if you don't mind.
I love it.
So, Tom, introvert or extrovert?
I'm both. It depends on the scenario. I like to be introverted a lot, but my job requires me to be a lot more extroverted.
Yeah. So it's a blend.
Yes.
Yeah. Lake or ocean, Maggie? And why?
Neither, but I'll go lake
Oh.
because I can't do the salt water. It makes me sick.
Oh.
And that's a shark's place. Like that's their house. I don't need to go in their house.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love it. Tom, night worker or early morning?
Again, both. I have no problem getting up early in the morning. I do it all, but then I know I got to put some late nights in, and I'll do that. So it all depends on what needs to get done.
I love it. Favorite song or singer, Maggie?
Oh, I love "Help Me" by Joni Mitchell.
Oh, it's great. You got a little Joni Mitchell in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like one of those weird songs that I just love.
Tom, favorite? You played at Muhlenberg 4 years, played at Ridgewood for 3, actually, right? I think.
Yeah.
So, favorite play you'll never forget?
I guess I'll have to. In college, I did score a touchdown, a 97-yard run back on an interception. So that will
Still in the books, baby. It's still in the books.
So I remember
Still in the
about.
book,
Yeah, we played that against your sinus, and that's just always will stay in my head.
Wow. And of course, Maggie, you were an incredible high school athlete.
Thank you.
Did you play in college? I don't even know.
I went to play at Kane. I went to play basketball there, but then
Do you have a favorite play that you'll never forget?
yes. In high school, our senior year, my best friends in high school are still my best friends to this day. Like I always say, my starting 5 was my wedding party, and we beat Lodi in overtime at the buzzer. Marilee McCullum sticks one right at the buzzer. We beat Lodi by 1 in overtime.
Wow.
It's always sweet to beat Lodi.
Love it. So, Tom, you could have dinner with anyone dead or alive. Who would it be? Where would you invite them to go to? That's interesting. And what question would you ask?
That's a good one. Well, Teddy Roosevelt's top
your
top
guy.
my list. Of course, I love Lincoln as well, but we'll go with Teddy for right now. I'd probably go over to your house. We'd have a nice sit-down dinner. We'd all talk. Have some cigars and beers with him. And what question? Just pretty much everything we just did on this podcast. How did you do it back then? How did you have the fortitude to make the changes you did as a president, and everything he did even before that when he was also in government?
But Maggie, when you walk out the door, on your last day, what do you hope will be said, or the impact you will have made as a model at Ramsey High School?
That I helped people and made them better.
Yeah.
That's really all I want to do, is just like kind of serve that way and just be whatever vehicle they need me to be.
I love it. So last question, Tom. You have now risen to the top tier of superintendent leadership in the state of New Jersey. And if you're at the top of the state of New Jersey, let's be quite frank, you're one of the best in the United States or the world. I mean, you've gotten that good at what you do. And, we're in a really turbulent time right now. Funding is down.
Right.
Teachers are complaining. It's a hard time.
Right.
Is there any message that you could give of inspiration, hope, and belief that I don't even know if things are going to get better, but maybe they are better, and how can we see them with a different lens or perspective?
Yeah, she always tells me when things are getting down for me or getting ugly, a bad day at work, she always used to tell me, go walk the halls. So when you get out of your office and you walk the halls and you see what's going on in the classrooms.
Yeah.
So now as a superintendent, I can't just walk into the classrooms, but I go around to all the different schools. So I'll pop in. The beautiful thing about my job is I could go into a kindergarten, first grade, second grade class, and in the same hour, go up to the high school.
Yeah.
So I could see kids learning how to read and struggling with that, and then go into a class at the high school and see them reading Shakespeare. That is a beautiful arc that you see. And when you see kids every day and you hear the laughter of kids and you see the dedication of teachers and what they're doing on a daily basis, you see this is the future. This is what's going to get us through, because there is hope and there's faith in the future. Like, it's just there's no other way. It's going to happen, and we're going to do it.
I love it. And I don't know how you rank order a teacher. It certainly isn't based on test scores. We know that. It's a part of it. But I think in the end, it's how many students during this school year you really had an impact on,
Right.
and how many you cared for.
Right.
The fact that you are called the hugging guru,
Tornado.
is a symbol that you've probably hugged more kids at Ramsey High School than anyone maybe in the history of Ramsey High School.
For sure.
So now that you're moving to, let's call it the last chapter as a teacher.
For sure.
Is there any things that you want to adjust that you think can help you become even next level as a teacher before you run out the stadium?
It's a great question, and I do want to be better, because I know, like you said before, there's one way or another. Like, I can just be kind of coasting a little bit now. I don't want to do that. So I also am very aware of my weaknesses, which there's plenty of. So I am grateful and blessed with the greatest team at Ramsey, my department. So just to kind of we kind of fill each other's gaps, and just to continue to navigate through and to inspire them, and also like to be inspired by them, just to kind of keep what we do valid and make sure that we believe in that, because like I said earlier, when you believe in it, then that gets contagious.
Right.
So just to kind of continue to inspire and be inspired.
Yeah. Well, I thank both of you so much for this. I mean,
Thank
obviously,
you.
we could do this another hour. I've got more. I
Yeah.
got an hour's worth of questions. But again, being around people that are, that are energized, that are excited about what they do, and are grateful for life, there's a definite frequency that
No
you
doubt.
get from them.
No doubt.
And so I thank both of you for today, but most of all, our friendship and our relationship.
And I just want to add in, being like, the step away, like, this means so much to me to see, like, we have heroes in our lives, and you are a hero of the Gorman house. And I mean, I knew I'd try to make it without crying.
There you go. That's all right.
But honestly, like, you are one of his heroes.
Thank you, Coach.
So to like
Thank you.
see this,
Thank you.
to see this.
Thank you. I'm
is
giving you a
beautiful.
virtual. Well, special thanks to Tom and Maggie, and just a little promotion again on this book, which is incredible story. I called her Mary, and so if you're interested, get this book and follow Tom and Maggie's life. It's incredible. So if you're interested in working with me, Coach Stroker, I'm at coachstroker.com. Subscribe to our R Zone. Follow us on all the socials. We're on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And thank you so much for watching this episode of a great one, the R Zone.
Let's get you into the R Zone. Coach Jim Stroker has provided a bridge for inspiration and hope for people all over the world. Are you ready to transform your life and your leadership skills? Invite Coach Stroker to inspire your students or motivate your teams, offering personalized keynote speeches, dynamic workshops, inspirational life coaching, and comprehensive leadership training. From Fortune 500 companies to students all over the country to nonprofits and individuals. Empower yourself to become the best version of you with Coach Jim Stroker. For speaking, workshops, training, or coaching, work with Jim Stroker. Visit CoachStroker.com to start your journey today. Let's get into the R Zone.
For more, follow Coach Jim Stroker on socials. And be sure to subscribe to the R Zone podcast, available on all major platforms, including Spotify and YouTube.
And don't forget to pick up a copy of Coach Jim Stroker's new book, Huddle Up, available now on Amazon.
This production was recorded at Ignite Creator Studios, Digital Media and Content Strategy. Visit ignitecreatorstudios.com.